Alrighty, hey Sydney, I'm going to give you a little bit of feedback on the photo shoots that you did recently for us. So starting with Marcy and Mommyland, go into the gallery. So overall, they're super happy with them. I think they have a really nice feeling. My first thought is I wish we had more pictures. Normally we try to deliver about 50 or more, so I don't know why we had less here. Maybe you just did a shorter photo shoot or something, but just to be aware of that. Other things that my eye jumped to are harsh lighting. I'm just jumping into the ways for improvement. There are lots of beautiful things about these. I think like the color saturation is very pretty. How you're able to get the background and the foreground exposed. You can see both of them. It looks like maybe you did some of the editing for that too. You also caught a lot of emotion and interaction and happiness. So I'm happy with them, but I'm just going to focus on the ways to improve. So harsh light, yeah, where you have like dark shadows on mom's face and harsh light here. I know it might be kind of tricky because the time of day when you were shooting, if this clock is correct, it's like mid-morning in the summer. So yeah, that's hard. And I might be telling you things you're kind of already aware of, but I'm just going to cover them anyway. You can see how these two have a similar lighting. And so I would just, in an ideal situation, try and turn mom a little bit so everybody has the even lighting on their face. Maybe if you're shooting from a different angle to get that. Like here, everyone has similar lighting, except, so on the one hand, it's good because everybody has the same lighting on their face. On the other hand, we could get better light on all of their faces. So it's too bright on the right, on this left side, and too dark here. If we move over to the right a little bit more, if you walk to your right, then their whole faces will be in shadow. And I realize you're working with a public sign here in the back that you want to include, a monument. And so you'd have to back up further probably so that you can get the lighting correctly and still include the stuff in the background. On that note, I like how these pictures are closer and you just get a feeling of the background. You just want to make sure that you, in addition to this, also get a picture where you can see the full sign. We're a little bit closer to that up here, but it's not, it's just mom, which is, you know, a nice picture of mom and this random person with a hat. This is a little bit more street photography style, which is fine to include as long as you also get the portrait. So the portrait that we're looking for would be this group here with this background. So you just want to back up more. And in addition to that, I would say, like, you can kind of see it down here. You're seeing more of the sign. It's nice in the background. These are very nice, especially this one. I like this a lot. But what I'm lacking, when I look through here, I'm lacking one really strong picture where it's the family with the sign completely not cut off at all. So you see it completely, like this. Except here his head's blocking it, you know. So you'd see it, and then you'd see a lot of sky behind. So it's like I'm looking kind of for this picture here with the background. I'm being very picky here, but what I'm thinking is these ones, when you're cutting stuff off, you're giving a feeling rather than actual like portrait that's showing off the background. Because if this family weren't from Seattle and they really wanted to show their vacation pictures, then they're going to want nice portraits. They're going to want their portraits to have the feeling of Seattle behind, but they're also going to want a shot that really does show Seattle, just to be aware of that. Same thing here. If you're going to focus on the little boy, sometimes we just snap the picture in the moment and the light is harsh. But if you have control over it, turn it so that his cute face is in the shadow instead of in the sun. With pictures like this here, it's a really nice storytelling picture because you can see what they're looking at and the little boy is pointing and everyone's interacting, but it kind of stands on its own. It's alone. And so I'd like to have a complementary picture where you have this one. Right next to it is the same shot from a different angle, so you can actually see mom's face, little boy's face, maybe one without grandma, just zoomed in here. Maybe go around the other side and get his finger in the picture as the primary focus and then them in the background. So this is all just thinking for printing albums. You're looking to tell a story with multiple pictures side by side of the same moment but from different angles. And then this way it really shows off the whole story. Okay, so here's a good example of a good family portrait where you can still see the scenery behind. You could even go further back. So I know where this spot is. It's the little, by the crossroads. You could go even further across. I know there's people in the way probably, but if you could, go further back so you see not just the sign here, but the actual entire little gazebo. And then you'll see the trees and the scenery behind. If other people end up being in the shot, that's fine. Like, you want to get this shot where there's nobody, so it's really beautiful and clean. And then you also back up and get a full shot with strangers in it to show where they are. These two shots here are really zooming in on like body parts, which is not a bad thing. I tend to find it a little bit random, and so I personally like to shoot with more perspective. So if I'm going to photograph the little boy's feet, instead of shooting down on the feet, I go down to the eye level of the foot and then turn my camera to point up so that I can see his face, or I can see the location of Pike Place Market behind. That way, it's not just a picture of feet, it's a picture of his feet, and you can see his face in the background, or it's a picture of his feet on vacation, and you can see the vacation location in the background. Same thing with the hand. Like, just kneel down so you can see his face, or you can see some scenery behind or something. If you do want to just focus on a body part, then I try and zoom in a lot closer, or go to a special angle, like being right eye level with them. That way the picture is really showing off that feature of the body, and it doesn't just look like a random cropped picture. This I thought was a very nice picture. I know the lighting is very difficult inside the public market, and I think it's really cool how you managed to get this interaction. You can see everyone's faces very clearly, and there's movement happening, so that's great. This shot here is good. It would be better, I think, if you kneel down, so your camera, excuse me, your camera is down on the ground almost, so that you can see his whole face. You still have the green behind him. I'd still take this shot, but also offer the other angle. It's more intimate for kids when you're down on the ground and they look big instead of small. Same thing here. Just careful of little things like this random finger coming in. It looks really funny once you spot it, and for families it'll be very annoying if they see it, and they'll never be able to forget about it. So just clean around the edges. And then also this shot is kind of like the foot shot. Like, you're seeing a part of his face and a part of mom's belly. Like, that's great, but also in accompanying this picture, zoom out and see where, so you have the same moment, but you can see mom, and then maybe come over the little boy's shoulder, so it's kind of over his shoulder looking up at mom, or down over her shoulder looking down at him. So it's more storytelling rather than just random belly and hands. These are cute. I like them. Same thing here. It's just little boy's hands and feet, and it's very cute. On its own, it's not as strong. It would be stronger if we had a further away picture of him with the pig and people in the background walking by. That's fine, but he's sharp and they're blurry. So you're just thinking of shooting at 3 different depths. So further away where you see him on the pig, then you go a little bit closer and you see him and just a part of the pig, and then you go really close and you're zooming in and you're showing the feet and the pig and nobody else in the background. Also, this is super picky and out of your control sometimes, but these little feet around the edges, it doesn't look as cool as it would if it were clean, like it is on this side. So if you can, you'd edit things out, crop even just like this foot here, you know, just a little bit cleaner. Because at least this, you can see it's a person walking, but here it's just like half of toes. So you want to be very careful about just whenever there's little things like that finger in that other picture, or these toes right here. Because these are the tiny little things that look like they're, that you didn't notice them. Like here, obviously you noticed there's legs and you couldn't get rid of them, no big deal. But here there's a risk that the photographer did not notice, and that's not a good sign. You want, as a photographer, you want to be aware of every little detail. So this shot is really beautiful. My only thing would be to take this shot and then have another one next to it that's even further back. So the family is maybe only this big, like just tiny, and then the sign would come to here, and then the rest would be blue sky up above. So more negative space, like back away more, so you have more full body, big area show off the scene kind of shots. I know that for this shoot we were also focusing in on tourist pictures and how to make pictures on vacation look like portraits and not just, you know, random snapshots surrounded by strangers. And this is where variety comes in. So you don't want someone to come back from vacation and only have pictures of their faces. Like, they are trying to show off the market. So you want to be able to take those faraway pictures, but then also zoom in closer and get the private portraits like this. So it's a matter of variety. This is a really nice shot. All the color and everything is great in it. I love it. And then I would just, add more variety. You have this moment, and then go a step further and zoom in on the little lime and have his face blurry in the background with his little hand and the lime very crisp and clear. Or, shoot over her shoulder down at his hand or something. Just more angles. Back up a little bit so you see them standing there with the entire fruit section. Yeah, I'd say the overall lesson for you on this one is back up more so that you can show off more scenery. And while you're backing up, keep in mind variety, that you want to shoot at all different depths and distances. You want far away, but you also want medium, and you also want very close. So you're looking for variety by getting different distances. And that goes for the storytelling of the location that they're in, and for the body parts you're focusing on. Get a picture of him standing, his whole body standing right here on this stool. And then you zoom in on the feet, so they go side by side. Because we're always thinking about the storybook and the photo album we want to print. We want to tell the story with a faraway picture side by side with the close-up picture. And the reason we do that is that it helps the viewer's eye focus in. So you're looking at the picture, and you're like, oh, there's a little boy standing on a post. And then the next picture they see is, oh, that's his feet. There must be a reason the photographer focused on his feet. And then as the viewer, you're like, yeah, they are pretty cute. Look at his little feet and his toes and his sandals. So they appreciate it more if they see the further back picture, and then you as the photographer are guiding them and showing them where to focus. If you just take this picture, it's out of context and kind of random. Like, a family probably will not on their wall post this picture. But if it was side by side with him standing and a full body shot of him standing, then maybe they would post it like side by side as a little diptych, which is two pictures side by side. It's a collage. So basically you're thinking, can this photo stand alone? Or if it can't, where is the collage that it belongs to? And if there are no other pictures for it to fit into a collage, then we probably wouldn't deliver that picture, or you need to go take another one, right? So when you're shooting, think variety and think, does it stand alone, or am I building a collage? And then you actually have to take all the collage pictures. Okay, cool. Awesome. Good job. Thank you.